Welcome back to this Friday tipping postcast. We've covered Doncaster and Newbury. I'm Maddie Player. We've got Paul Keeley on the couch as well. David Jennings and Frank Hickey, of course, joining us as well. We're going to move on to Sunday now, and the Irish turf flat season gets underway at Naas, of course. DJ and Frank, just want to go to you before we get stuck into that and ask you for your best anti-post bet of the new Irish turf flat season. Frank, I'll go to you first.
I don't have anything. I've backed anti-post for the turf, Maddie, to be honest.
Nothing?
Nothing, no. Okay. I won't mislead people by pretending I have one. So.
Nice. Okay, maybe we'll ask you in a later on postcast. DJ, did you manage to pick anything out for us at all?
Yeah, I was down with Aidan O'Brien for a feature there recently, and he's obviously got an incredible team. Like everybody seems to be talking about Amadeo Modiglani, and he seems to be the one that everybody is interested in, and he's obviously going to be exciting. I thought Gustav Klimt was probably the one to beat in the 2000 Guineas.
Saxon Warrior as well.
Yeah, Saxon Warrior is obviously very good. One of the ones that I think could be a little bit forgotten about in Ireland, and I think it could be a big player, especially with the ground the way it's likely to be in the Guineas, is Verbal Dexterity, who was fourth to Saxon Warrior in the Racing Post Trophy. Yeah, but it just...
He never went a yard that day, did he?
No, and the fact that he was only beaten 3.5 lengths, like he was slowly away, he kind of veered left. He made a move kind of midway through the race, and then the race was kind of gone, and then he looked like he was going to stay on again, and then he got a little bit tired. But like, it was probably a really good Racing Post Trophy. Saxon Warrior won it, Roaring Lion was second, the Pentagon was third. I'd say it was a good race, and I just think the fact that he's won his Group 1 on soft to heavy ground, I know it's a long time till the Guineas, but you'd snow and stuff over Easter, so you'd find it hard to see how the ground is going to get. It's not going to be lightning quick, and I think he's one where he could be able to strike on with cutting the ground. Like, he won his maiden on soft ground by almost 10 lengths, then he won the Group 1 where he beat Beckford. He's just one that's going to be able to cope with soft ground, and maybe the time to catch him could be in the Guineas. I think he's 25 to 1, so Verbal Dexterity I think is interesting.
That's the Irish Guineas, yeah?
No English Guineas.
Any English Guineas, good. I think I backed him for that, actually. Big Verbal Dexterity fan. Keels, dare I ask you if you've had a bet on the Irish flat racing season?
Oh, God, no, not at all. I haven't had a bet on the English flat racing season either. But my only anti-post bet so far was third time lucky in the Lincoln, and he got declared for the Irish Lincoln instead.
Oh, typical. Speaking of the Irish Lincoln, at 4.50, it's the Tote Irish Lincolnshire. Of course, we'll move on to that now. Frank, can we have a show of betting, please?
We don't have that priced up just yet, Maddie.
Come on, Frank, get the finger out.
Okay.
What are you at all morning?
Huh?
What are you at all morning?
Trying to find winners here, and there's a training day going on as well, so everything's a little bit behind schedule. So
don't worry, Frank. DJ, I'm sure he'll let you off the hook. Any fancies for this, lads? Frank first.
Not strongly, and again with no prices, hard to know. But I just had to have a look at last year when it was run at Naas as well, and the low numbers dominated, and the ground was pretty testing that day as well. So if I was going to throw 2 token darts at it, on the go again, aggressive enough. Yeah, I just want to steal your thunder, Dave. You know that you're getting out for mocking me 2 minutes ago. That's karma. On the go again, he's been very progressive on the flat, and he's been promising a little bit over hurdles too. I think is he just 4 or 5? He's just turned 5, sorry. The ground will suit. I think there's still a bit off 93, and he's drawn low. And the other one I'd give a squeak to, I'm hoping Dermot Weld has turned a corner, and his Sorel Del Rose is a small bit interesting. She won at Goran off 83 when the Yard were struggling, and she went close at Goran the next time as well, more in kind of a conditions race. She's dropped back down to 85, like she went up to 90 after the win. Now Pat Mullins on a Mick Halford runner, so it's not overly positive, but again she's drawn low, she handled the ground, and she'll probably be an each way price because Lee Roach is ready instead of Pat Mullins. But on the go again be my main one.
Brilliant. You've all been agreeing this postcast. DJ, I presume, again, you've picked the same as Frank?
This is from my point of view, it's demoralising because everybody think I'll just copy Frank, who's won so much on bets over the years. But my 2 of the, how many is in the race? There's 20 in the race. My 2 to follow in the race, lo and behold, we're on the go again. And Sorel Del Rose, and just a note on Sorel Del Rose, don't be too disappointed that Pat Smullen's not riding it, because she's carrying 8.8, and the lowest weight Pat Smullen has done in the last year was 8.8. So I just think it's a bit too much to ask. First time up, after a winter break to be doing his lowest weight. So I'd imagine that's why he's not riding Sorel Del Rose. But yeah, she's really interesting. Like, if you think of it, she won a handicap at Gorham Park on heavy ground impressively off 83. She was sent off favour for her next two handicaps that were reasonably competitive, off marks in 90 and 90 again. Dropped £5, and Dermot is going to need to hit the ground running. I'd be inclined to take a chance and just back a lot of his horse earlier on in the season, because they were so out of form last season. They're bound to be well handicapped. Hopefully he sorted the problem in the yard. And like Frank said, Sorel Del Rose could be a bigger price than it should be because of the jockey bookings, and people mightn't realise. But On The Go Again, I think, is very interesting. Soft ground form. As Frank said, the low numbers. On The Go Again is drawn 1. Sorel Del Rose drawn 4. So they're my 2 against the field as well.
Okay, Keels?
Yeah, well, I'm going to back third time lucky. Anyway, I'm going to have to, aren't I? Just trying to get some money back now, The one advantage of him running this race is he gets to run off his correct mark, because it'd have been £2 wrong, because he dropped a couple of pounds. He's off 95, which is the same mark off which he won the Cambridgeshire a few years ago. I just thought you ran a really eye-catching race at Wolverhampton last time. Pulled really, really hard off a steady pace. The race was won by Big Country from the front. And he's a very, very talented horse when he gets it right. Hasn't done it for a long while, but like I said, that marker's dropped. I think he was a 12-1 shot for the Lincoln last year of 106, and he can run off 95 now. He is drawn 20, which is the problem. I think stalls 1 to 5 finished in the first 6 in this race last year, so it is a problem. But he can go from the front, and equally he can be held up if that's what they want to do with him. And soft ground, although he hasn't run on it for ages, that's what they used to think he wanted. So I'll give him a shot.
Okay, before we finish, just at 4:15 is the Lodge Park Stud Irish EBF Park Express Stakes. Frank, have you got any betting on this one?
No, we haven't betting on that either. Yeah, the Sunday races have been neglected, Maddie. So.
Okay. Keels?
No interest in the race, to be honest.
No interest whatsoever?
Not my sort of race.
Okay, DJ?
Yeah, I think Elegant Pose will beat Making Light. They're head and shoulders above the rest on ratings. They clashed, if you remember, on the final day of the flat season at Naas last year. And it was like, I suppose, the crowning moment for Colin Keane, getting up on the line to beat Making Light. It was like a really, really good ride from Colin. But I did a little Q&A for him for today's paper, and I said, what horse are you most looking forward to riding? And he gave me 3, and the first one he said was Elegant Pose. She's rated 102. She's only had 4 runs, and the only time she's been beaten was in a race at Gorham Park, where she was given a hell of a lot to do that day. She's a big improver. I think she'll probably beat Making Light this time, and I'm hoping that Making Light might be favoured, so that'll make a price for Elegant Pose. Okay, so fingers crossed you'll get a nice price on that, as you so put it, when Frank gets his finger out. Frank?
I'd agree with what David said. They're very closely matched, and obviously that Leopardstown run and Making Light was ahead of Elegant Pose in that Goran run. But Elegant Pose has only had the 4 runs ever, while Making Light is a bit more exposed. I think she's had 8 runs. So yeah, I think Elegant Pose is probably just the one, but the 2 of them are miles clear. I'd be shocked if either of the 2 of them didn't win. But Elegant Pose for me. Okay, fantastic. Has anyone got anything else at Naas, or indeed anything on Sunday? Good cards at Doncaster and Ascot, and of course there's racing at Carlisle and Downpatrick too. Keels, anything at all for you?
Yeah, I was doing the old Cheltenham preview circuit, and I was on one with Paul Nicholls, and I asked about Diego de Charmel, who I was interested for the Grand Annual. And obviously he won that race with Le President, but he said no, Diego de Charmel goes for the novice handicap chase at Ascot, which he does this Sunday. He's top weight off a mark of 143. Running a couple of races he couldn't really reasonably win.
It's behind St Calvados, wasn't he?
Behind St Calvados, but ridden from miles off it as well. I wouldn't worry about that. His mark of 143. He was only 12-1 for the county hurdle off 149 last year. I think he's well handicapped. He probably wants the ground to dry out a bit, but I mean it has been pretty dry all week, and Ascot does dry fairly quickly, so I think he'd be all right there. The 420, the Veterans Chase, assuming See You at Midnight doesn't run. I think No Duffer is becoming well handicapped. He actually ran his first reasonable race of the season, won 5th at Doncaster last time, behind a few of these, but I think he'll come on for it, and he's run well in the race last year off a considerably higher mark. I think he'll go well, and then we go to Donny. Where's Donny on here? There's still a few in here. Right, we'll have to go down because Candelisa, draw 19 for Tony Coyle. He's got some good form at Doncaster. Actually, he finished 5th to Mr. Lupton in a sales race. There was a 2-year-old was placed in the Spring Mile last year. He's off a nice low mark now. for Tony Coyle of 83. I think that has to go well in the 225. In the 335.
More.
Yeah, big sprint. Loads of horses in this race that have disappointed me in the past. I may go against the draw and give Mobster a chance off a mark of 88. Won the Camage Trophy 2 years ago. He's drawn 2, which is no great help at all, really, but he is so incredibly well handicapped on his past form. And Mick Shannon's been flying lately, hasn't he? Obviously had a Cheltenham Festival winner, but his other horses have been going really well as well.
Mobster loved this ground as well,
Yeah, he loved the ground. Everything's right for it, apart from where he's positioned on the track, which might be too much for him. And unfortunately, I was going to try and find something else, but
we can come back to you.
Someone's twittering Racing Post stuff, and it stopped me getting there. No, I think that was it.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, plenty to get stuck into there. DJ?
Yeah, 2 o'clock Ascot Maddie Sunset Showdown for Rebecca Curtis and Aidan Coleman. Thought that was Nightcatcher at Hereford last time, and the winner of that has followed up since in the 305 at Naas. There's 2 mud lovers in this. They'll both be throwing muck at each other. Downforce and Son of Rest. Both of them, they cannot have it soft enough. They'd love it to be in a swimming pool. And I think Downforce is the most interesting of those 2. Both are well capable of winning big sprints off their marks in this type of ground. They're just short of kind of Group 1 class. One is rated 109, one's rated 108. Nathan Cross takes off £7 off Downforce, so I slightly prefer Downforce, who was really good form from last season, like second to Psychedelic Funk at Tipperary. So yeah, Downforce in the 305 at Naas, and Sunset Showdown in the 2 o'clock at Ascot.
Okay, brilliant stuff. And finally, Frank?
Yeah, in that race at Naas, like, it's probably not a bet on Sunday because of the ground, but I just saw there Medicine Jack is off a mark of 94, and he's one to keep an eye on for the season going forward. Like, if you go back to his 2-year-old form, like, he won the Railway Stakes and was second and he was third in the Phoenix Stakes. Third, went off 11-8 for that big sales race in the Curragh. But he only had 1 run in the Sandy Lane last year. Like, he was rated 104 at that time. He's been dropped £10. So while the ground's against him on Sunday, he's one to keep an eye on when getting better ground off a mark like that. In the 335 at Donny, Captain Colby's got a nice high draw. He's decent Doncaster form. First time out last year, he was second in the Camage Trophy. He was rated around 100 at the time. He's back down to 90, which is a fair drop. Like, it's only the September previous to that he ran away with the Portland off a mark of 95, and even in last year's Portland off 92, he's beaten just over 5 lengths in 7th. I think he'll go really well and probably be an each way price. And in the 235 Ascot, it's competitive juvenile hurdle, handicap hurdle. Night Destroyer was quietly fancied in a few places for the Fred Winter, and of course he fell after just 2 hurdles, and of course hampered my fancy for the race, but he might be worth giving a chance to at an each way price, because a few that'll be Paul Nichols, Mayasa and City Dreamer might be short in the betting, but this Night Destroyer might be a decent each way price against them.
Okay, so whatever you're into, flat jumps, we've covered plenty in this postcast. I think that's about it from us now. Thanks for joining us, and make sure to join me again on Monday when we do the reviewing postcast.
Success ain't earned, it's bought. That's why at Paddy Power, we paid the big bucks for the best tech nerds in the world to develop our new, fastest ever app. Download the new app from the App Store or Play Store now. 18+, begambleaware.org.